Welcome, one and all, to Pacific414 Movie Review. I am your host, Mike. I know I tried to do this on Friday, March 4th, and I tried to do it last Monday, but being that my movie theater didn't receive their delivery, I decided I would wait. Why? Because this is a local mom and pop theater that shows one movie a week or sometimes one movie for a couple of weeks, and I'd rather give them support than a big chain. So, as you know, this is going to be my review of the Batman. There will not be any spoilers, even though I know somebody's going to say, Mike, the movie's been out for a week. You can give spoilers. No. When I originally posted that I was going to be doing a review for this movie, I said there would be absolutely no spoilers. And I'm going to stick with that original plan. So, spoilers, there are none. But what I will say about this movie from moment one, you're thrown right into the thick of things. You're dealing with, crimes that are going on throughout the city. You're seeing the various crimes that are in progress. And you're also introduced to Robert Pattinson as the Batman during this whole sequence of scenes. And I've got to say, as a whole, Robert Pattinson, sparkles, Twilight sparkles. Well, he didn't do bad. And, that's a good thing. It's a good thing because for anyone who might be curious to know who my favorite Batman is, well, I'm going to give you this clip right here just so you know.
I want you to tell all your friends about me.
What are you?
I'm Batman.
That's right. When it comes to the Batman movies, my favorite of them all is Michael Keaton. Of course, I was 11 years old at the time. So, that has a great impact. Not to say that, Val Kilmer wasn't good. He was all right. Now, George Clooney, not so much. Christian Bale was good. He was good, but my all-time favorite is always going to be Michael Keaton when it comes to the movie Batman. And Zoe Kravitz as Selena Kyle, Catwoman, very well. Very well done by her. And also you had Collin Farrell as the Penguin, John Turturro as Falcone, Carmine Falcone. And, you also had Paul Dano as the Riddler, and of course Jeffrey Wright as Jim Gordon. And honestly, they all did very well in their roles. And this was definitely a noir story, a detective story, and I really enjoyed that part of the movie. I really enjoyed the fact that they actually went through the evidence, you know, looked at each and every bit of evidence that was available at the crime scene, and then, Batman, Bruce Wayne would go back to the Batcave and, analyze the evidence and examine the evidence while in the Batcave. And even Alfred helped him out. Now, as far as Andy Serkis is concerned, as Alfred, he was all right, but he was barely in the movie. He was only there for maybe a total of 5 minutes screen time, if not a little bit more. But he was barely in the movie. And when it came to the Batmobile in this movie, it's a nice car and everything, but I still like the 89 Batmobile. Again, 11 years old when that movie first came out. So, everything still sticks into here, and I've got a butt. And you know what, butt? You're out of here. You are out of here. You panning the keys for butt. So I am going to report this bot and get rid of this bot. So there we go. The bot is now taken care of. So anyways, getting back to the review. Andy Serkis is barely in the movie. Not to say he doesn't do a good Alfred Pennyworth. He does. He does. But he's barely in the movie. He doesn't really make that much of an impact. For the time that he's on screen and his interaction with Robert Pattinson's Bruce Wayne and Batman. And of course, the things that go on in the movie, you find out about, Falcone, Carmen Falcone. I said Falcone before. I'm sorry about that. But, you find out about Selena Kyle and, her link to, the Falcone gang and, everything that happens between the Falcones and Thomas Wayne and Martha Wayne and also the current candidates for mayor. And, it is action-packed when it gets action-packed, but you do have to wait a while for it to get to those action-packed moments. And, the first act is very good. The second act is very good. And the third act is very good. Now, I will say, did the 3-hour runtime bother me? No, because I have to admit, at this local theater that I go to where you can get a ticket for $7 and then go to the concessions and get a few more snacks for a total of $11. Well, all I got to say is it's $11 well spent. This theater doesn't go through the trailers. It just gets right to the movie. So that 2-hour and 59-minute runtime actually turns out to be a 2-hour and 40-minute runtime. So that was good. But this movie is good. Does it have its issues? Were there some woke moments? Yes, there were, but I'm sure everybody's heard about them by now. I mean, the movie's been out for almost 2 weeks now. So I saw those moments, and because I already knew those moments were coming, they didn't bother me. And I do want to say hello to Tim's Talk. Welcome, brother. Good to see you here. Thank you again for inviting me into your 500 subscriber stream on Saturday evening. As a matter of fact, I'm going to post Tim's channel in the chat for anybody who would like to subscribe to Tim's Talk. He does great content over there. And you might also know him as Kylo Tim. But here is the link to Tim's channel. And here we go. So please do subscribe to Tim's Talk. So getting back to this movie, everybody does a great job in this movie. And Paul Dano or Dano, depending on how you want to say it, but he does a great job as the Riddler. An absolutely great job as the Riddler. And gosh, he really does come off as creepy in this movie. He does. And, the various riddles that Batman and Alfred have to solve, Batman and Jim Gordon have to solve. And, the police, how, they feel about Batman is even touched on when they're trying to do their investigation into the Riddler, and they're wondering, why is Batman even there? Batman's not a police officer. Okay, so that's maybe a minor spoiler, but I'm sure it's not going to bother anybody. Not a problem, Tim. Anytime, brother. But this movie, it's definitely worth seeing. It's definitely worth seeing more than once. I want to go see it another time before it leaves my local theater here in town, especially for a $7 ticket price. I know somebody's going to say, stop shoving the fact that you got to pay $7 for a ticket. I'm not trying to shove it in. I'm just saying that I like going to this theater because if I do end up going to see a movie that I don't like, the ticket was only $7. So it's not like I'm going to pay 12, 15, $20 to go to the other theater I could go to and see a movie where I'm walking out going, well, that was a waste of money. But no, this movie isn't a waste of money, in my opinion. And I can't say it enough. I do highly recommend it. Robert Pattinson, again, I will say this over and over again. I didn't expect him to be as, good as he was in the role of Batman. Now, Bruce Wayne, he was good too, but I will leave it to non-spoilers because I don't want to reveal how much of one you get, how much of the other you get, in case anybody hasn't seen it. So, with this movie, it's definitely one where I was going into it and I wasn't really sure if I was going to like it. Saw the first trailer for it and was like, yeah, it looks okay. But then you see another trailer, and then, of course, you can't help but hear what other people's opinions are about it. You try to ignore it the best you can, but let's face it, there's only so much you can do. But I've gotten to the point as I've gotten older where spoilers don't bother me anymore. Honestly, it is what it is. So this movie, it is what it is in a way. It's definitely a detective story. It's definitely something where they're not going to give you a whole lot of action throughout the entire movie. It is going to concentrate on trying to find out who this villain is. And I really enjoy that because I do enjoy a good noir, good detective story. But I want to touch up on Collin Farrell as the Penguin. He was very good. And honestly, with the makeup that they did, he was unrecognizable. And he definitely showed his acting chops by being able to disguise his Irish brogue and keep that New York accent. So he was very good in it. And the car chase between Penguin and Batman, I'm not going to say how it is. The only thing I'm going to say is there is a car chase. But that was filmed very, very well, I thought. And, when it comes to John Turturro as Carmine Falcone, I enjoyed his performance, but I've always enjoyed him in more serious roles anyway. I didn't really care for him as Agent Simmons in the Transformers movies, but there's a lot that could be said about the Transformers movies that were directed by Michael Bay. That's best left unsaid because you might go into a rant. But he was good. Zoe Kravitz, she was good as Selena Kyle, Catwoman, but my favorite is Michelle Pfeiffer. I was 14 when I went and saw Batman Returns. So again, there's that going. And Michelle Pfeiffer, she just milked it up in her scenes. And no pun intended with her being Catwoman and drinking milk. But she was very good. Now, who do I prefer as the Penguin as far as the movies are concerned? In case you're asking, between Danny DeVito, excuse me, and Collin Farrell, well, honestly, they each bring their own version of the Penguin to the table. Not saying one's bad over the other, but they're very different Penguins. I will say that. And plus, you have, one Penguin, and it's coming from Tim Burton. This Penguin is coming from Matt Reeves. And let's see, Tim is saying Michelle was great. Yes, Michelle Pfeiffer was great as Catwoman, and I do want to say hello to Games, Movies, and Comics. Hello, brother. And he says, I kind of hated the Batman. Okay. If you don't mind me asking, and I'm not asking because I don't agree with you, I could see where someone wouldn't like it, but why didn't you like it, brother? Unless he's saying it down here. Collin Farrell was good though, yeah. But what were some of your sticking points, GMC, about the Batman? I mean, I will say, is this the greatest Batman film ever made? No. Again, it goes to the 89 Batman. You can't beat that dynamic between Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson as the Joker. So that that movie is my particular favorite. And I know some people will say, well, I like Val Kilmer and Batman Forever. And then some do like George Clooney as Batman and Batman and Robin. I just watch that movie to get a laugh anymore. But this movie is good, and this movie does have some moments, like I said, where they are the quote unquote woke moments where you go, yeah, okay, there it is, and it's gone. They throw it in. It's gonna happen. It's just a given anymore. And Tim has a question. Well, actually, he's just saying, "What up, games, movies, and comics?" But this movie is definitely worth seeing. It's definitely worth seeing more than once if you like detective dramas. And like I've already said, I do like detective dramas. Are there some things I would change? Yes, there are some things I would change. But, it is what it is. It's current times Batman. It's not like, Batman Begins from 2006, I believe, 2005, 2006. It's not like The Dark Knight or The Dark Knight Rises. It's not there yet. But it's also not in the same level as the first two Tim Burton films, which, come to find out, I learned this weekend. The reason why Tim Burton wasn't asked to come back and direct Batman Forever is because of McDonald's wanting to sell toys. Imagine that. So, you know, these thoughts on this movie, it's a good movie. I do recommend it if you like detective noir stories. If you don't like detective noir stories, then you might not enjoy this movie. Or you might see something else that's a sticking point in this movie. Like GMC said, he didn't like the movie, and that's fine. We're not all going to like the same things. We're not all going to, look back on this movie and, talk about how great it was. Because, there are some moments that did make me shake my head. And I'm not going to spoil it, and I'm not going to do a spoiler review. This is just my thoughts after seeing the movie and giving you a straight up review. Now, if I were to rate this movie, I'd have to say that this movie is at least 7 out of 10 because I did notice some flaws, and those flaws, even though they're not a major sticking point to the movie, they were still noticeable to me. And that's why I'm giving this movie a 7 out of 10. And of course, if you've watched any of my episode reviews or any previous movie reviews, it's very rare that I give a movie 10 out of 10, or sometimes when I do the scale as a 5 out of 5. Same with episode reviews. It's very rare that I'll give something a 5 out of 5. Because there's always something that you might notice, and it might go, nope, nope. But I would recommend going to see this movie, especially if you like Batman. I mean, let's face it, when it comes to Batman and Superman, Batman's cooler anyway. Batman's cooler. He, uses his brain, uses his know-how, and of course, somebody can say, yeah, he also uses money. True, but he uses that to help solve crimes. So overall, this movie for me is a 7 out of 10. It is worth seeing if you like detective noir stories and you like a detective noir story set in the Batman universe, because Batman is the world's greatest detective. So I think that's it for this review. I do want to thank GMC and Tim Stock for stopping by. I really appreciate it. And if you would like to talk about this movie further with me, you can always find me on social media. The links are down in the description below. And you can also join the Discord if you like. I will go ahead and put those appropriate links in the chat, just in case anybody would like to either join the Discord or talk with me further about this movie on social media. But I'm also doing it this way because I don't want to spoil this for anybody. And I know, far be it by me to not spoil something, because most of my reviews, I do have spoilers in them. I'll admit it. So I'm just waiting for those to pop up. If they don't pop up, I will put them in manually. All right, come on, Nightbot. Wake up, Nightbot. All right. Let's see. It doesn't look like it's working right away. So I will just go ahead and put the links in there myself. Unless it's already done it. All right. It's already done it. Never mind. So this is going to wrap up my review of the Batman. Go see it. You'll enjoy it. And if you don't enjoy it, well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the things that you did enjoy. Who knows? Maybe we'll do a future stream where we can talk about the movie and point out the things we liked and point out the things we didn't like. So I want to thank you all for coming by for this review. I know I didn't really reveal too much about this movie, but that's the whole point of doing this particular review today, is trying not to reveal too much. And I do want to end this on another. I was going to say this for Pop Talk on Wednesday, but you know what? I'm going to just go ahead and end it on this note. Let's see. And this will also be a part of Wednesday's Pop Talk, just so you know. So let's go ahead and make this full screen. And here we go. So yes, rest in peace, Scott Hall. You will be sorely missed. Have a good night, everybody.